Can I video you?
Sure.
So what are you studying here?
Microbiology. It's kind of up my alley then in this building. This makes you think that like maybe it's like a fishing net or something. I've always found art to be beautiful, but I'm more of a science person. I like art though. Sometimes just stuff is just hidden because I'm not really seeing it to actually explore it.
My name is Forrest Rohr. I'm a professor of biology. I mostly study viruses of bacteria called phage, and I do that in a whole bunch of environments, including coral reefs. The Eyes of the Beholders is a room that we built with Ben Darby. Ben Darby is an artist that I've been working with, doing different installations, as well as a lot of illustrations for books and papers I work on. All of the details that are in the actual installation is what makes it more like a living system, because when you're in a living system, there is a whole bunch of extra stuff that you just don't expect to see.
I'm not a minimalist artist, that's for sure. My name is Ben Darby. I'm working on a master's thesis at SDSU. This room is just part of my thesis about how artists and scientists, when working together, can benefit both the arts and sciences.
We're actually stuck in lots of places right now with science. So coming up with one good question or one good idea is incredibly valuable. So this is the beginning of what becomes Eyes of the Beholder. And one thing that's nice is that you can use this rule to look into any ecosystem.
I have done a few of these drawings explaining different versions of viralization and microbialization.
Yeah. And so things like this are really the main thing that we're trying to get across to people scientifically. So what we're doing in the paintbrushes to petri dish approach is that we're taking artists and we're training them about science to become kind of experts, but not really domain experts. If you're a domain expert, sometimes you get very limited in your thinking.
I did model the room after this drawing. One more addition from the microbialized zone that this doesn't show is I modeled it after the kelp forest.
Yeah.
In its microbialized form.
Ben has just enough knowledge about the science that we're trying to think about, but he's not constrained. And so his building of a fantastical world is very useful because he'll put things together that my brain may never imagine. And that unconstrains my thinking when I go and look at what he's doing.
The Eyes of the Beholder's room, it's in room 336. It's in a science building. When people come in, they are literally aghast. I do like it when people would walk by and they'd be like, what the F? Because there's biology labs, there's all these labs. It's so funny. The room before was a meeting room with couches and bookshelves. I made an installation of just paper from the drawings I was doing. We called the first one the paper room, and it was viralization versus microbialization, and it basically microbialized the human habitat.
You're some grazers.
We got students and professors looking at the drawings and talking to each other, visualizing something new. That's why Forrest said, do more, this is working. Forrest really gave me free rein to do what I wanted until I told him I was finished or if I needed something. It took me a lot of work and time to make all these sculptures. This one is halfway done, so I found myself working hours and hours, weekends for a couple years. I meant that room to be not earthly. I only modeled it after the coral reefs. I wanted nothing to be representative of an animal or a place on this earth. I would think about it as like you're on a gaseous planet like Jupiter or Saturn or something. The gauze I put on the windows was diffusing the light. You don't see the sun, but the light changes. When the sun rises and sets, you don't see the shadows as much, but just a glow. I wanted the atmosphere to be foreign and yet welcoming and embracing. We kept the room hidden from prying eyes until I was finished with it. We finished at the beginning of the fall 2025. The second room, Eyes of the Beholders, has outweighed the paper room. In quality and detail, it really puts the person into the world you're trying to show them.
The first couple times when I was really trying to use the room, I would sit in there for over an hour and I would just kind of try to take it in, and I would write down things that I noticed. I would actually move through the space. Touching things like tactile stuff is really valuable. One thing I didn't anticipate is how strong the smell was. The smell is woody, and in the ceiling, it looked like you're kind of under this undulating environment. And it suddenly appeared to me that I was under the ice on Europa. And I was very interested in how the biology was playing out by being in that environment. Then I followed that up with writing, as well as trying to figure out what the chemistry would be and how I would test for that chemistry. And so I actually found that whole process really exciting. Ben did create a world that's so fantastical that people did not recognize it as something that they've ever seen before.
We've done 85 surveys, and what came up a lot was, wow, where am I? I'm in a secret portal to a new world. They were really surprised given where the space was in a science building, not an art building.
I really want scientists to go in this fantastical world to start picking out patterns that they can test in the real world.
We're doing one project where we're having scientists go in there and write short stories.
The story is actually what we would call the natural history. We can take a story or something that we've written down and start turning it into data, and then you make a hypothesis off the natural history, and then you would go test it. Whatever it takes to really imagine new places is the whole point of the eyes of the beholders.
I made a little loop in the path with the chair so that people would turn around and look at it this way, seeing the total difference.
Yeah.
That was intentional when I did the painting in the room. The collaboration is what it's about. Not just for me and Forrest, but hopefully other scientists and artists. Basement room's over here. This is where we put all the storage. We tore it down in one day. Here they are, all the creatures. Little guy. This one got beat up a little bit. Huh. We have plans to make more of these science art collaborations. Class is still in session. And hopefully maybe in the next 3 to 5 years have a big show. See what we can do, right?